What's up, everyone? Welcome to beautiful Jersey City, New Jersey. We are live from Lincoln Park. 5K night. Tonight we've got 4 different heats. CITIUS MAG founder and host. I've got him right here. He's getting ready for his... Chris, before you go off at 7:30, just give everyone a little bit of shout out about how your legs are feeling.
Well, legs are feeling good. Hopefully if everything goes well. I think no guarantees on sub 5, but I want to give myself a shot, so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Well, get out there, get your legs going. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes till... Most of these athletes tonight is actually the first time that they're running in a legitimate race in 6 or 7 months. I think we can all look back, and early March, we didn't really foresee when the New York City half marathon would be canceled and the Brooklyn half would be canceled. And this group of athletes that we have tonight, which we'll dive into in a bit, that are going to be running, some of them professional runners still, some former professional runners, some of them have run in the Olympics, some have run in the Olympic trials. And a lot of these people are used to a schedule of races and running at various distances, and all of that was wiped away by COVID, a pandemic that none of us could have foreseen lasting as long as it did. But tonight, people are racing for real again. We have an awesome slate. The lineup looks like it's going to be about 750 for the men's C heat. In the men's C heat, you're going to have, I think it's 15 guys that are going to be running around 14:30 to 15:15. A lot of New York City local ladies, most of them trying to break 17. At 8:30 p.m., we'll have the men's B heat. A lot of guys going under 14. At 8:50 p.m., there's a men's mile elite. 8:55 p.m., women's A heat, where you'll have some folks flirting with going under 16. To this has been different for everyone. Some of these athletes, when the races got shut down their training completely. No running for months and months and months, and are just getting back into it. So tonight is them dipping back into some competitive running. For others, they trained all the way through as if this was an Olympic permit, and then they're getting back into it. And then for other folks like my friend Chris, there were some time trials throughout. There were a lot of and so for some people, be training with one other person, training on a track every single week with masks on. So for a lot of people, this again, and we're so excited to be here with you on the CITIUS MAG live stream. I think we've got Chris getting set right now to get it started. So let me step out of the way. Are we ready to go on Chris? So Chris, again, is one of my closest training partners. A lot of you know him as the founder and host of the CITIUS MAG Podcast. He's also a pretty serious amateur runner himself. He's never broken 5 in the mile. His PR right now is in a trial. He ran 5:11 a few months ago. Tonight is going to be a sub 5 attempt for him. I think the goal really at the high end for him would be to come in around 4:56. He says he'd be happy with anything under 5:05 or really a PR he'd be content with. I think he's going to dip it under 5 for the first time. He has his pacer out there with him, Michael Constantino. Michael is actually an SVP. To run Boston this year. That obviously got canceled. We paced him for his virtual Boston Marathon a couple weeks through 1200, and they're off. I believe it's going to be 74 is how 4:56, but even if he dies off a little bit, he'd still have a chance at coming in under 5:05. Is the clock right now? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've got the clock going now. We're at 51:52. Chris is coming back up the front stretch. His friend Michael Cosentino has for him as he comes down the front stretch. He's giving Chris the rail. We've got 107, 108. Let's see what 113. Chris's most recent training involved a pretty tough workout that his coach, Kate Gustafson, put together for him 2 weeks ago. It was really kind of a test workout to see. It's a good one to steal if you're starting to feel fit. For a 2-mile tempo at 5:45 pace. 2 minutes rest, 1 mile at 2 minutes rest, and then an 800 at sub-mile pace, so sub 2:30 for him. It was a creative workout and a really tough one that needed proper warm-up, proper cool-down, but a fun one to do on a Saturday. 2:29, 2:30. Let's go, Chris. Come on. Of 5-minute pace for him to be on. Chris, as I can say this as a friend, hasn't been, let's say, the strongest race. Beyond 2:30 was going to be okay for him. 2:31, I believe it was, faster for a distance than he ever has. Up and down the back to run with, and I 70 in him. Workout on in this environment. Watch. About 150 to go. He looks at the line here. If he doesn't, at 450. It's second piece. He's just out. But 30-ish through 8 lap where the struggle hits you, or try to
really give it a go again. I mean, today conditions were perfect. We got some light spectators, but still, you know, it's a crowd to feed off the Bakline and Trial of Miles for putting this on. Yeah, if there's another one.
That's watching and listening. All the athletes and staff here have been tested for COVID this week. Have to be in a mask, so a very safe environment put together by Bakline and Trials of Miles, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, track is back, and it's nice. I mean, we're all coping with what the new normal is. And sooner or later we'll get back to the full normal, but it's a step forward, and yeah, and we're making the most of it.
So as you look ahead at the schedule of events we got tonight, it looks like we got the men's C heat coming up next. A couple local guys we know in that. What are you looking forward to seeing in that race?
So in that race, there's a lot of people who, you know, ran in college, maybe took a couple of years off. There's a lot of PRs in that race between, you know, 15:30 and 14:20. So, you know, we could see the race being won in something like 14:34, 14:35. That's my change real quick.
Yeah.
I'll be back on the stream in a sec.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. A valiant effort. I think actually his strongest attempts at the mile are still ahead of him. That's why I was encouraging him, maybe in 2 weeks, let's get you back out there. Maybe I'll throw on some spikes and try and pace him through. But a big PR to start the night, and I think we're going to get a couple more PRs after this. Actually, I was thinking in the next heat, the men's C heat, you know, Chris is saying about 14:35 is what he thinks the fastest runner will be. But I know that there's a couple men in that heat that are going to be looking to go under 15 for the first time ever. And like I said, it's a great mix of runners because, you know, in a meet like this, you can have some guys who maybe haven't gone for 15 yet. And so for some folks that maybe had run D1 or run pro, you know, going under 15, maybe they did it at high school. But a couple of the guys we know in that heat, they've been training the last 4 to 8 weeks for an attempt to go under 15. So pretty cool stuff. And like I said, Chris is one of those people as well. Kind of mixed up his training. He was actually down in Princeton, New Jersey with my family earlier on in the quarantine, and we felt like, you know, maybe we weren't really training for anything. We kept the accountability of a training block going, but with no races, it was hard to really get yourself motivated, and I think that kind of continued through the summer, but I give him a lot of credit. He stayed committed to a workout plan. He built out plans every single month, every single week. He built out some hard workouts to hold himself accountable, and when we saw this on the calendar, we were really excited to get him going, to get him a really legitimate attempt at a mile PR. And again, as we look ahead into this men's C heat, I know that there's going to be a lot of that going on. A lot of guys that have maybe been secretly training alone off in the suburbs somewhere, ready for an attempt to go under 15 or down to, like as Chris said, 14:35. Tonight is a night of pride and personal PRs, and you know, I talked a little bit about this when Chris was coming around with about 600 to go, but races like this, especially when you think about some of these guys coming up in this next heat or Chris out there, a lot of this running is about pride and pride within yourself and the accountability you set within yourself. And then when you get in that race environment, a lot of athletes talk about at the end of that, so when Chris had 600 to go, can you get in the zone? Can you take your body to another level that it hasn't gone to before? Because remember, like the workout I had talked about with Chris, the 2 mile tempo, the 1 mile, the 800, when he gets out here today, he's asking himself to do something that his body has never done before. And so for a lot of these guys, as they get into this 5K, you're gonna be asking yourself, to do something that your body has never done before. Hopefully your training can get you there. But again, it's at a point where you have to try to lock into being in the zone. And I know a lot of athletes talk about that. A lot of sports psychologists talk about it. But it's willing your mind to will your body to do something that you've never done before, to go somewhere that you've never been before. And I think for a lot of us, that's how we unlock the PRs, because the workouts build that confidence, and if mentally you're ready, you can will your body to go a little bit further. And that's some of the stuff, I take a little bit of that from Michael Phelps and some of those swimming guys, but I know the track athletes think the same way when it comes to racing, and especially racing when it's like this, where it's more about pride than the medals or anything. Can you really dig deep? Can you push a little further? So we've got 750 is the next race. It's 7:43 right now. Chris is going to be coming up, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the athletes we have in that one. One of our favorites, one of our personal favorites, is Tim Rossi. He's famous for Lost Boys Track Club, an Instagram account that you've probably seen a lot of. Tim has had a bit of an up and down, I'll call it year and a half or year or so after running 2:31 at the New York City Marathon 2 years ago. He was primed to really take off. He ended up running 71 in the New York City half a few months after that. And then he's pretty much been hurt since then. And I think for a lot of us that are avid runners, that are athletes, we know that when you get hurt like that, it can deprive you of everything that you've come to stand for, right? That accountability, that work ethic, that grind every single day. And when that's taken from you, you really have to get yourself stronger in different ways. And so for Tim, it was about a year and a half ago, he really peaked in running that 71. Lost Boys was really taking off. Tim was really peaking, and then he's been hurt. He was really hurt for over a year, and I know that was really mentally hard for him. And he really just came back right as COVID had started. So he was getting ready to run New York City half this year, Brooklyn half, and then a fall marathon. And so a lot of that was taken from him. So when you think about this men's C heat, a guy like Tim Rossi is a guy that's been probably in the same shoes as a lot of you, which is you're battling through injury, and that can be as much mental as it is physical. And as you're battling through that injury, all you're thinking about is wanting to get back out there for your first, 10-minute run or 20-minute run or 40-minute run, and then your first workout. And then when the workouts get going, you start foaming at the mouth because you want to be able to race again, right? And you want to be able to take a shot at a PR again. And he was ready to do that, and then the pandemic hit. And so he's a guy that is grinded. He's dug deep. This is going to be his first chance to really race legitimately in almost a year and a half, and I know he's one of those guys that's going to be going for sub 15 tonight. And Chris is here. He actually caught his breath. He looks a little drier than when I saw him last. Chris, I was just kind of starting to dive into, in this C heat, not only might you have some guys going down to 14:35, but you have some folks like our friend Tim Rossi, who first attempt at sub 15, which is a pretty awesome thing, and especially when you think about a guy like him, he's been hurt for a long time, he's been chomping at the bit to race. So there's going to be a lot of interesting tactics going on in this race.
For sure. I mean, and I talked to Tim, of course, he's a good friend of mine right before the race, and I told him, I was like, man, you're facing some pretty stiff competition in this heat. And he's like, well, don't expect me to win or to even be up in contention. He's like, I'm just out here to notch a PR. And that's the case with so many of these guys too. And like I said before, I think some of these guys are years removed from competing in college. They have just started getting into the swing of things, running on the roads, especially here in the East Coast when there's practically, in normal times, a road race every single week.
Right. And so for a lot of these guys, it's been shut down for a while. Yeah. They've had a mix of different types of training, whether it's alone, maybe with a group, maybe with a small group, maybe with one other person. Maybe if you're like myself with your partner, my fiance and I do a lot of our running together since we're in the same household. So you have guys coming out here with a myriad of different ways that have brought them to this track versus in a normal workup, you'd have people doing the same things and knowing where they're at. We don't really know where a lot of these people are at.
No, we don't. And like for me, doing research on every single one of these guys in the field was interesting because, you know, I'd come up on their team and marks are like way up there. And I think what's one thing that's interesting to keep in mind before my next marathon. Yeah.
I think we were sitting at will the races would be shot,
Yeah,
right? And
everything.
so you see a lot of these people that did
coming in the second and the first heat. And so the B and the A heat.
Yep.
But in this one, I think what was interesting too is that you got some really young guys too. These are kids who were just running in college. I call them kids, even though I'm like not that far removed from them. But
Chris just celebrated his 27th birthday.
Yeah,
he's now
2
into
days
his
ago?
late
Yeah.
20s.
I'm getting a little old. But like when I was looking at some of the recent times that these guys have put down, it's funny to see that they got as far as their conference championship, and then the indoor season just came to a halt. The latest result I think I was probably able to find were just results from, you know, March 3rd or March 5th, and that first weekend of March, and then after that everything was shut down. If you guys recall, at the NCAA championships, they were athletes already in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Yep.
ready to compete,
Yep.
doing their shakeout runs, and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, guys, the races are off. Like it's done. NCAAs are off. So we have a lot of people who their last race was their conference championship, and some of them they were PRs, and so like they ended on such a high note,
Yep.
and then from there you kind of are left scratching your head and like, where am I going to pick up the pieces? What comes next? And you know, it takes a while, but this might be the first opportunity that came up.
And I think that brings up a good point, because I think we're very lucky to be here right now with the chance to really race. I think, you know, when you think about some of these college programs where
I think we're about a minute from the start.
the cross country season had been canceled, so you really feel lucky that tonight you're able to actually do some legitimate racing.
Yeah, and so we're just going to get underway pretty soon with the first heat of the men's 5K. This is the C heat. We're going to go from slow to fast. So I'm going to toss it over here to Ryan to run through the field.
Yeah, so it looks like in this field it's going to start with Tim Rossi, the guy that I was speaking about earlier, going for under 15. He's got a 15:23 PR coming in tonight. Jeff Weinstein, who has a 15:02 PR, he'll be trying to go under 15 tonight. Alberto Mena, Chase Junnell, Timothy Koznikov, Jonathan D'Souza, Ryan Jensikic, Jason Ayer, Mike DiGennaro, Jeremy Arthur, Christopher Mader, Stephen Rathburn, Gerard Connolly, Alberto Mena, and Jordan Daniels round out this 5K field of men's C heat.
So like you said, we got a lot of guys with low 15 PRs, some that have gotten as close as 14:02. I'm looking at Mike DiGennaro, I think, who might have the fastest personal best in this field. So the race is off. Here we go.
You know that someone's going to go out a little bit. 400 should be pretty telling here.
You know what? I'm going to use these first couple laps as a little bit of a rust buster here and not
So
go
it
out
looks
way
like
too
they're
hard.
about 37.5 through the start, so right on 5-minute pace. So not too crazy, but it'll be interesting to see who starts to form a lead pack here.
Mm-hmm. So you got guy up in the white top with red shorts. He's taking a little bit of an aggressive lead.
It looks like we're about one lap in here. So they picked it up on the second 200. Looks like they came in at about 73 or 74 at the front of the pack, 76 or 77 towards the back of the pack.
We'll try and get a look at who's up in the front there. I don't think these guys have hip numbers. So we got hip 45 and 23. See if I can pull up. Again, you can find all the results over at bakline.nyc. Apologies here for the quick break as I pull up the hip numbers.
We got the guys rolling through 800, right around 222. So they're picking up the pace a little bit here.
This is a little aggressive push up in the front.
Yeah. And again, we think that front group is going to be coming in hopefully around 14:30 or maybe even a little under or over. So you're going to be seeing some guys going sub 5 minute pace the entire way through. How does that make you feel, Chris, knowing you couldn't do 1 mile at that pace?
I know, right? It kind of makes me feel a little bit bad about myself. So I recognize one of the guys up toward the front. That's Jonathan D'Souza. He's up in 3rd place right now. He's an Iona guy, and you know that's something that you wonder right now is like, what are the guys who had a cross-country season to look forward to doing now that there's no cross-country season up until the winter time? And Jonathan D'Souza is one of those guys, and it looks like he's making the move to go with that guy up in the front right now.
Right. Well, I think for a lot of college athletes, this is a really tough time for them, right? I mean, you had your spring season deprived, maybe probably your fall cross-country season deprived, some programs ceasing to exist, and all the while you're probably trying to peak in your fitness. So I'm sure he's pretty jazzed up to be running hard tonight.
Yeah, he's a successful guy from the Metro Athletic Conference. You know, he ran 4:12 for the mile, 8:24 for the 3K back in January. It's funny, as I'm doing research on these guys, I found out he's auditioning for Survivor based off his YouTube channel that has almost 3,000 followers. So he's sitting in 3rd place right now. I'm trying to get a good look at who's in 1st. Also in this field is Jason Ayer. If you're from the New England area, you'll recognize him since he's one of the big Tracksmith guys, UMass grad. He's got strong marathon credentials, including a 22nd place finish at the 2008 Boston Marathon. That's the one that Des won. That's the really reigning one. He ran 2:29 that year.
Wow. That's in the rainy one.
Yeah.
Too.
He's a big captain of the Tracksmith Speed Project team, which was not that long ago. He captained them to a 2nd place finish at the 4th edition of that race. And this year, that Tracksmith team ended up winning the remote version, the virtual version of it, with 348.43 miles in 31 hours and 15 minutes.
So speaking of the Boston Marathon, I'll be interested to also see, kind of bringing up this rear pack, is Jeremy Arthur, another local. He runs with Dashing Whippets.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere with a really fast time in Boston 2 years ago, or I guess a year and a half at this point.
So I think I see Jeremy Arthur toward the back.
So he's running.
So we've got a front pack of 6 guys, 2 guys giving chase, and then the rest of the field.
And for context, it looked like through 1600, that front pack came through at about 4:44, the backpack around 4:48. So a little bit of a separation forming here, as that front pack probably aims to be going under 14:30. The backpack probably guys that are going to be trying to break 15.
Yeah, if I could see if I could read the uniforms a little bit clearer, then I should probably be able to try and figure out who exactly we have up there. It's a little bit dark here in the top secret location in New Jersey, unless you revealed it already.
I revealed it. I did let everyone know that we're in beautiful, wonderful Jersey City, New Jersey. Who would
But honestly, kudos to you if you're able to find your way from watching this on a YouTube stream all the way to the track. We'll turn you away at the door. I'm gonna get a little bit closer here to try and see who we've got up toward the front. So it looks like it's one of the guys from Connecticut. We've got a good group coming down here from the Connecticut running groups.
Yeah, that's the, I saw their flag up here earlier. It's the Heart Runs or something.
I did notice that there, toward the back of that front pack, you've got a young guy there. It's Alberto Mena. He actually went to my high school, Xavier High School, up on 16th Street in Manhattan. He also ran at Fordham University. Recently, he participated in a little 5K time trial on the East River track, where I know a few guys targeted a sub 15. The front pack of it got it. He's like on the cusp of joining that club. So he's really giving himself a shot here as we come around 7 minutes. And this should be what?
I think we're about to hit 3K when they come on through 200 more after this.
Okay.
Focus here, guys. You got this.
Yeah, and again, it looks like that lead pack is really taken off here. 8:25 now.
So that must have been
I think it's 2,800.
So I'm running through some of these notes that I took right before the race. We've got somewhere in this race is Chase Janelle. From his Strava bio, I was able to find out that he's originally from Texas and now lives up on Long Island. And here they are at 9 minutes into the race. We got two guys about to break away. Another guy in second place.
9:02 too.
Is Jonathan D'Souza.
Is Jonathan the one's lead?
He's in second right now.
Oh, he's
I'm
in
pretty
second.
sure. And he's sitting pretty as the guy in the front does all the
Tim
work.
now making a move off the back here. He must have a race plan to go at this point. About 2,000 to go for the guys coming off the back. Came through at about 9:25-ish. 3,200 meters at 9:36 for the front of the pack. $9.56 for the back of the pack. So these guys are still ripping it down.
Alberto Mena is the guy in third right now. He closed the gap. You had the two guys up in the front taking off for a little bit. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to Jonathan D'Souza versus Alberto Mena. You got the guy in the front going, and you have to wonder
Have
if
we
he's
figured
getting
out
tired.
his game yet?
No, I can't really put
He's
my
been
finger to
working
it so far.
hard the whole race. He has set the pace. He's had 3 or 4 people right on his tail. So they're right on 14:35K pace.
You know what I just realized is if I pull up the stream on my phone, maybe some of the viewers could probably help me identify some of
and
these
actually
people.
it'd be nice to get some questions coming in from the viewers.
Cool.
They're coming up the front stretch now. It's gonna be 1,200 to go here. 11:28 from the front with 3 laps to go. Got a little bit of a middling grouping here at around 11:40, and then you got some people really trying to make some moves off of the back here, around 11:50, 3 laps to go. Start, we'll have the women's B heat, which features a lot of local New York City women, a lot of whom ran at the Olympic marathon trials really as their last legitimate race. So I think a lot of them will be pretty excited to be spiking up and getting out here. Looks like D'Souza took the lead, Chris.
No surprise. This is an Iona guy. He's got no
800 to
cross-country
go.
season to look forward to.
He's still in college, correct?
Yeah. Young guy, too, in college.
Gotta respect the hustle to keep staying in shape with no season.
And I think the funniest part was of his audition tape was he wants to be the first Canadian and the youngest Canadian the first to win Survivor. I thought it was awesome.
What do you think your old buddy Malcolm Gladwell would say about that?
He'd be a fan of what's going on right now.
I think
we got a Canadian pulling away.
Gladwell would be great on the show Survivor.
Yeah, I tried my straight.
Wow, he was sitting pretty and then just decided to, all right, it's my time to go now. Pulled away.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get a split on this last lap. He's gonna rip down here.
And Alberto Mena, major props to him. This is gonna be a huge PR for him. Doing it the hard way.
Bell lap.
13:51 at the bell. He should go under 15.
Yeah. And it looks like, so now
Really
you're getting into the part of the
flying
pack
at this point.
where I think we had some guys hoping to get under 15. It's going to be a little tough at this point. Probably going to be coming in around 15:30 for the folks coming through. 400 to go.
I think the other person to get some props in this race, because I'm seeing it in the comments, is Gerard Connolly from Smithtown. Ran at Brockport State. 4:28 for the mile, 8:41 for 3K, and 15:03 for the 5K. Have yourself a day, why don't you?
And here he is. Some might say Ripper's gonna rip.
He's taking this one.
Yeah, and D'Souza's closing hard here. Looks like his final 400 is gonna come through at about 67.6 to close.
Ooh, and second place right there at 15.
Comes in at a total time just under 15. Second place came in through about 15 flat.
And you know what's one of the funniest comments I saw on Instagram right before all these races was that some people were billing this as Iona versus the world. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Iona just got its first win of the night. Let's see if there are more to come.
And
look
it
at this.
looks
We've
like
got
Jeremy
a bunch of guys
Arthur,
skipping under.
15:27.
Ooh,
Tim
and
Rossi going to be right at 15:31.
15:31.
Should we see if we can get D'Souza over here on camera?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, good job. What's up, man? How are you?
Good.
you want to go get him?
Yeah, where is he? I didn't.
Is he right here?
No, I think he's down there. I thought. Yeah. Yeah. And our final finisher coming through just under 16, 15:58. So again, people are running some really, really fast times tonight. When you have last place in your
Can we
men's
get you for an
heat
interview over there?
running 15:58, it's darn impressive. Again, the front of the pack came through at around 14:58, breaking 15. It was Jonathan D'Souza.
He's got to keep it low key according to his coach, so no interview.
No interviews.
No interview.
Wow.
But keeping it low key. You got to respect it. I mean, so many people just got to get a race in.
I'll tell you
It's a
what,
business trip.
Bill Belichick would love to have him on his team. Respect it. 14:58 to win the men's C heat. And it looks like if things go to plan, we've only got about 2 minutes until the women's heat comes in. Chris, quickly, before we dive into the women's heat, what were some of your takeaways from that start?
You know, I feel for the guy who ended up finishing second, and I'm hoping I can get his name because he did so much of the work
Yep.
up in the front. I kind of was walking through that the finish line chute, and yeah, you hear a couple things about how much work they had to do, but yeah, it was a hard effort.
So now we're about 1 minute away from the start of the women's heat, and for a lot of the people here in the stands, this was one of the ones they were really excited about.
I'll
coming
tell you
to
what,
see.
this is probably the race I'm looking forward to.
Well, it's the locals
most.
race. This is
Yeah,
the
I mean,
locals race.
For those asking in the comments section, I see you, Richard Isa, wondering, no interviews? He passed on an interview. Coach's orders. Said no interview. Got to keep it low key.
Who's his coach? And
It's at Iona. I
Yeah.
don't know. We're running a tight ship over there.
I kind of dig it. Belichick would be proud of him. We're gonna dive into the women's B heat.
In just a sec, but first, let me run through the results of that first heat. I'm pulling them up right now as we speak, and we're gonna get our answer here. So Jonathan D'Souza won in 14:59, the only guy to break 15 in that heat. Christopher Matier, that's who we were wondering about the entire time.
Worked his butt off the whole race.
Yeah, ends up 15:31. Stephen Rathburn, 15:32. Ryan Jenzizek, 15:59. Timothy Karganov, 15:02. So there's just one time that's out of order here. Gerard Connolly was 15:06. Alberto Mena was 15:16. That's got to be a huge PR. Jeremy Arthur was back in eighth in 15:28. Mike DiGennaro, 15:17. Jordan Daniels, 15:19. Jeff Weinstein, 15:25. Chase Janelle, 15:29. That's what's coming up right now. But we did see our boy Tim Rossi actually run 15:30, 15:31-ish.
Yeah, and I think the back of the pack was 15:58. So still impressive. Every guy under 16 in the C heat. Some fast times.
All right, here we go. This is the one that we've been looking forward to. I think us personally, because we know practically most of the field here.
Yep.
So apologies for some of the ID issues that we had on the first one. We just didn't know everyone.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with, sub-elite athletes. These aren't your everyday pros that we know. So
Field, we're going to have Anna Johnson, Millard, Jessica Chichester, Alana Lee, Ashley Lidoff, Sarah Fountain, Carly Graham, Amanda Asaro, Eileen Berry, Haley Ritzman, and Maggie Sullivan. Really just a who's who of local elite women.
yeah. And what's always funny is I've always thought how cool would it be for, the best of the best from the city to go head to head? And you know what? This isn't everyone. We're missing the likes of like a Caitlin Phillips here, but this is a very, very strong field. No Harriet Kelly, a lot of these Olympic trials qualifiers, but this is a very, very strong field, and I'm ready to see it all go down now.
They're off.
And they're off.
Yeah, and I think what's great about this field is all of these girls, all these women are amazing people off the track, but I love that there will be some subtle rivalries going on inside of this race.
Oh yeah. Trusting Ms. I trust her for this. She's got some really fast middle Park Track Club. Her teammates are right there.
And I think my understanding from chatting with some of the women ahead of time was the pacer was going to be trying to aim for 16:55 pace through 3,200 before dropping. So it should be good for that crew that wants to get close to or just under 17.
Central Park Track Club right up in the front with 3 women. Maggie Sullivan is a pacer. First lap in about 78. This race strung out very quick.
Yeah. Well,
Nice race, bro.
Thanks, man.
Good stuff. I like that fight.
Johnny Grigorik in the house, giving me some props.
it's New Jersey, New York Track Club.
Blue Jean Mile
Blue
world
Jean
record holder.
Mile world record holder.
Here we go, Maggie Sullivan leading the way.
Yeah, that's a lot of Central Park Track Club up at the front. Is that correct, Chris?
That's Eileen Barry right behind her, right on her heels. Olympic Marathon Trials qualifier, 2:44:51 from the Grandma's Marathon. On her Atlanta 2020 profile, I learned that she was a ballerina for 15 years and did not start running competitively until after college. And that's the case with so many of the women in this field.
So many of them, including one of our friends and training partners, Leanne Sherrick, founder and captain of Brooklyn Track Club. Didn't really discover running until she was around 24 or 25. Recently ran the Olympic trials.
Yeah. Up in the front as well from Central Park Track Club is Amanda Asaro. A lot of people in the New York City area might recognize her since she's one of the very popular Barry's NYC instructors. 1500. She recently, Central Park had her own little time trial as a team. She ran a 1,500 meter PR in the inter-squad race. So momentum is definitely on her side right now, and she's hoping to keep it through this race. Hopefully notch now a 5K PR.
Was Jenny Donnelly part of that race? Jenny Donnelly should be in this, right?
Yeah, shout out to Jenny Donnelly, who's a good friend of ours and is now out on the West Coast. Yeah, exactly. She would be, you've got a pack of 4 Central Park women up in the front, and she would be right there.
And it looks like it's Alana Levy is latching onto that pack of Central Park Track Club runners.
She's like, drag me to a good time here. And she's coming off a 5:56 mile PR.
4:56.
4:56, I'm sorry.
And Alana is pretty well seasoned on the track. She ran at Cornell, took some time off, then got back into running at the marathon level. She ran a 3:01 at the New York City Marathon last year. But again, like so many during the pandemic, getting back into the short stuff, finding those mile legs, and today maybe gonna discover a 5K PR.
Yeah, it's funny because like she's one of those people who quietly puts in the work and works in the shadows, doesn't need to make everything in her life about running, and that's the beauty of the people in this race too, is I feel like so many of them have so much to worry about outside of just the track and their running.
And then coming through right behind them, someone that you know pretty well, Kate Gustafson.
That's our coach.
The one that coached you to your mile PR today. She's a pretty seasoned runner herself. Finished 5th at the Canadian.
It was like 6th at the Canadian Marathon Trials. So we got a little international flair in this race. We're holding it down for Canada. Canada got the first win of the first race of the night. But yeah, pretty much you've got a nice little inner squad battle happening at the in the very front. You've got Central Park Track Club. Then your next 3 runners are Brooklyn Track Club, and then the rest of the field still keeping it pretty damn close.
Yeah, we've got a nice like single file lineup for the first 10 or so women, and then there's a little bit of a second group forming, similar to the men's C heat. The women are going to be coming up on 1600 here. I think this will be pretty telling to see after 1600 who can hold pace for this. It's going to be about 5:25 right now, so they're right there for that sub 17 attempt, which I know a lot of these ladies want to really go for badly. So great job on the pacing through the first mile. But you know, this is where it starts to get tough. You got to dig deep, and then the pacer drops, and then real racing starts.
Yep, it's that second mile of the 5K that always, you know, you got to lock in, keep your head in the game, and then once the pacer drops, then let it rip. One person I kind of do want to underscore and highlight in this field, and she's working her way, I think, toward the middle of the field, and that's Grace Bowen, Dashing Whippets running team, ran 2:44.49 at Philly less than a year ago, Princeton grad, ran at the Olympic Marathon Trials, and she's right on the heels of Emmy Aguilard, right behind Kate Gustafson. So sitting around like 6th or 7th right now. What I like about the way that she races, and this is from being at an East River morning time trial not too long ago, is that she's going to run her own race. She's going to be patient, and she'll let that sub 17 come to her. You might have some people up toward the front who might get a little aggressive, and she knows that's not me. I'm going to, stick to my plan, stick to my pace, and then see who comes back to me. And you know what? She might end up with the win. So we'll see if that strategy works to her favor here. But this is a very deep field.
It's what I love about the track 5K is there's so much strategy involved. And someone like her could just sit in the middle and then rip down the last 2 or 3 laps. What I love to observe in a race like this too is, like we were saying, for some of these women, they discovered running after college, maybe playing a different sport in college. I think some of the women out here did play different sports in college.
Well, Grace Bowen was a lacrosse player, and so it's like, yeah, you just never know what your sport's going to be. Our coach, Kate Gustafson, played hockey, so you've got a wide range of talent here.
Jordan Cunningham-Snyder, soccer player at Notre Dame, fighting Irish. And so I bring that up because then you get put on the track and the racing's so different. And I think a lot of these people, when they discovered running, myself and you included, you discover it through road running, right? And I think road running is a totally different style than the track running. There's a lot more strategy involved.
Now here's something that's getting a little bit interesting in the race is, yes, we still have the Central Park women up toward the front. Leanne Sherrick, co-host of the Runners of NYC podcast, got to get that plug in right here, is right in 4th place, making it very close. So we'll see. And Maggie's, she knows her teammates know her. This feels like practice to some of those women up in the front.
Yep, and I think, what I love seeing from Leanne is, I think as they went through about a mile, I think she was maybe just like 1 second off of what her plan was, and I watched her surge for like 100 meters to get ahead of the next person to probably get herself back on the exact target she was looking for.
I wish we had a lap counter that we could see. I think it might be on the other side of things right now. Maggie Sullivan still up in the front. That's your pacer. Eileen Berry in 2nd. Amanda Asaro right there. And Leanne Sherrick has closed the gap. Alana is running in a little bit of a no man's land, but she wants to close that gap.
Well, and we got a move coming.
I saw that. That's what we were talking about before. Grace Bowen.
That's Grace, right? And
who is up in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
she surged
6.
to 6th.
In 6th. She sees the front gap going a little bit, so she's like, no, take me with you.
She wants to stay hanging on.
You want to know a fun fact about Grace? Because now, since we're talking about her, and she's making her move, she is going to catch that Central Park Track Club group. Her fiance proposed to her a week before the Olympic trials race. How nice.
Oh man, it's a great moment to have, because little did everyone realize that the world was going to completely shut down 1 week after that race. It was actually the last time I was on an airplane up until about a week ago.
So I want to give some friendly shout outs to some of the other people in this field, Emmy Aguilard and Carly Graham, two people that are familiar to a lot of people in the New York City area because of their work at Finish Line Physical Therapy. So
yeah, great crew. And by the way, as we come through 3K here,
10:18,
5 laps to go. Kate Gustafson at 10:22. Emmy Aguilar around 10:26.
Anna Johnson's tour is working toward the back of she's in a second pack back over there. Want to give some kudos to Anna Johnson because of her work as a frontline worker. She, was through the worst of COVID. We had her on the Runners of NYC podcast back in April, and anyone who was on the front lines of battling this pandemic head on, and to be able to continue your high level of training, you deserve the world.
Oncology nurse at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, and I'm always overly impressed by the folks at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, regularly rated the #1 cancer center in the world, and particularly tough during a pandemic for those types of people to get treatment. So kudos to Anna Johnson for continuing to put together the accountability to train hard for races like this while being on the front lines.
So we got a little Chainsmokers playing at the track right now. That's going to get people going a little bit, especially now that the pacer has dropped.
And
you need
we've
something
got
to boost you up.
It's a tight cluster.
It is a
of
very
5
tight race between 5 women.
4 laps to go.
Then you can see Kate Gustafson now is going to be the one chasing that lead pack.
Yeah.
So we've got a lead pack of 5, 3 Central Park, 1 Brooklyn Track Club, and 1 Dashing Whippets. Those are the clubs that you know and love in New York City. There's obviously a lot more, but they're active.
So this is going to be great as they come back around here. We're going to have 3 laps to go, and I think that's where the real racing starts. I think we saw some people subtly starting to make moves who maybe had a race plan, but when you get that close to the finish, I think you end up throwing the race plan out and you just go.
Yeah. It's just, that's the beauty of racing, is you get that tough competition all in the same setting, all the same like-minded people out after the same exact goal. They're going to want to go for it, and so they're going to drag each other to good times.
Well, you know what Al Davis said?
Just win, baby, win.
Just win, baby. Just win, baby. So we got 3 laps to go, and this tight group is pushing hard.
And that is Amanda Asaro is making her move fresh off a 1,500 meter PR in the intra-squad Central Park race. Now she's like, well, let's see what I can do in a 5K.
And again, besides that front group, we're pretty strung out here. With Kate Gustafson leading the way beyond the front group, still pushing hard, and then Alana Levy. So that front group, though, is charging hard.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you think we've got a little bit of time left here? Is this going to be Central Park 1, 2, 3? Or are we going to get a Grace Bowen kick to win it all? Leanne Sherrick sneaks in there. What's your prediction right now with 2 or 3 laps to go?
I think the only guaranteed thing you can say is with 3 of the top 5 being Central Park Track Club, at least one of them is going to be in the top
podium,
3.
Yeah.
At least one's going to be in the top 3. I think it would be interesting if it was completely podium that was mixed of clubs. But you can't really knock the hustle of Central Park Track Club. These women clearly came out ready with a plan to run together, follow their pacer, and here they come. 2 laps to go. All 3 still steady in the front, just like they've been the entire way. Leanne Sherrick and Grace Bowen right behind them.
So it's Caroline Yarbrough, who's also up there in the front, the other Central Park girl. Or women, excuse me. Man, this is going to be one interesting finish.
Well, and it's also, I always think this because, again, I'm not as familiar with track running, but are they going to come up on lapping some folks, and what will that do to the pecking order, to the cadence of all the runners? I don't know that they will catch the back, but it might get close.
Comment section, I want you guys, 1 lap to go. Who's going to win it all?
And what do we think the winning time is going to be?
Ryan, get a clock on this last lap.
Yeah, I love
to
clock the close.
They're gonna rub shoulders on this one, I think. Wow, here we go. Has got the best
We're going
kick
2
of the
deep
bunch?
here. It might even go 3 deep here for a bit.
Amanda Asaro is the one leading at the bell. Caroline Yarbrough, Eileen Berry, 1, 2, 3 Central Park. Leanne Sherrick in 4th. Grace Bowen in 5th.
And so, by the way, let me just level set with some context. They were about 15:47.
Kate Gustafson.
With 1 lap to go, meaning we're going to have to see them close in about 73 or under to make it under the 17 line, which is what most of these women were aiming for.
I think it's Amanda Asaro right now, but Leanne Sherrick, I think, is now with 200 meters to go.
By the way,
that right?
Yeah, and they're ripping. It looks like it was about 36 and a half through 200 on this last lap. So they're right there to come in and under 73, which would be a sub 17-minute 5K.
Oh man, here we go. 100 meters left to go. Wow, charging down the home stretch.
You love seeing this, Chris. This is amazing.
This is interesting. Leanne Sherrick is going to take the women's B section.
Wow.
Just under
a 72 close for a 16:59. That's a massive PR for Leanne.
Amanda
I think
Asaro
it's 20 seconds.
in 2nd. Then I believe after that, it might have been Grace Bowen, Eileen Berry, and then Caroline Yarbrough. Kate Gustafson coming through 17:20. As we keep the finish.
Emmy Aguilard.
Emmy Aguilard.
Alana Levy.
Yeah. You don't have like an iPhone charger, right? Or like a...
Yeah. We've got our last few finishers kicking through here. They're going to get it in under 18, 17:57. Great time.
All right, well, here we are. All right,
Can we get Leanne Sherrick?
The winner, Leanne Sherrick.
So do you want to know what you closed in on that last 400?
No.
72 to close, to get it in at 16:59. Leanne.
Was it 16:59?
Let's,
yeah.
You're just joking. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I think you did get out.
The results are unofficial, but it was 16:59 by our look. Leanne, tell us about the racing tactics going on there. We know that you're an amazing road runner, but getting on the track running a 5K, not something that you're used to doing.
I've never raced a 5K, like in a real race. No time trials. This is my first real track 5K. I really liked it. Marathons.
So we didn't script this or we didn't rig this thing so that I would be interviewing you. But I mean, so how did it exactly do that? What was your plan there? And ultimately, it was 3 Central Park women at the front doing a lot of the work, and you're just sitting pretty there. When did you decide to kind of make your move, and what was your plan going into the race?
That was exactly my plan going in. I wanted to be comfortable, and I wanted it to feel like a tactical race, because marathons aren't really like that. You just walk in, but you walk in for 2.5 hours, and then it's time to fight. So this was so much different. It was nice to zone out. I'm so glad. I'm grateful to them that they led the whole time. I'm such a wait and kick. I'd probably wait until the line, you're like, oh, there
For like
was.
50 meters to go, or
Yeah.
40 meters to go, yeah.
So I was aiming for 600, and I think that's basically when it was anyway. I get nervous like at the 200, that was like, man, this is gonna be the longest 200 ever. And the nice thing is like the lights coming from this side, you can see my shadow on the field. I was like, all right, no one's on me. Just hold it.
And it was a little dark for us from over here, so we couldn't really see who was coming wide and kicking the hardest. So an amazing finish again. I clocked you at about 72 to finish, and it's really like crazy to think about. I was saying this in the pre-telecast that you're asking your body to do something it hasn't done before. So imagine, after the times you had ripped through 2 mile to think you were going to close a 472 is pretty incredible.
I'm happy.
So you're-
What's kept you motivated throughout like the pandemic, especially because you just don't know when the next opportunity is going to come up.
Yeah, I think once New York kind of loosened up a bit and we were able to meet up safely for runs, just like, I can't say it enough, like the ladies, the women in the New York running community are like amazing in this heat. Like I know every single person in this heat by name, like it's incredible. And so I think being able to meet up with them, seeing what they're doing, knowing that everyone's still committed to working hard, like that's it. Like that's all year, every year. So.
Well, we'll let you cool down and get warm, but congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations on
Thanks.
your first
You just like
17.
stop recording and it's over.
Yeah.
Can you see if you can get us Grace and send her our way?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Again, that's Leanne Sherrick, the women's winner.
So Leanne ran, so now it's 2:42 for the marathon, and now sub 17 for the 5K. Things are looking up for our friend Leanne Sherrick.
Oh wow, we've got the men's B heat taken off.
Go to work, Kilgore!
This is a fast group.
The B section of the men's 5K. In this one we've got Alex Nordstrom, Graham Baird, Jack Hopkins, Mitch Ammons, Billy Ulrich, Greg Morgan, Aiden Puffer, David Kilgore, Paul Matisak, Matthew Farrell, Zach Barker, Josh Hibbs, Sam Montclair, Miguel Galvez, Paul Marcovina, and Stephen Gomez. And I believe they're being paced up toward the front by in the front as the pacer. Never be too safe.
I respect the hustle also to kind of just say run.
Runs for Zap Fitness, the on running group. He's run 2:13 for the marathon. He competed at the marathon trials. He has broken 4 minutes for the mile, ran in Princeton, ran in Texas. The reason I know quite a bit about him is actually because when I was covering the European track and field circuit for Flow Track back in 2013, he was actually one of my roommates along the way in Leuven, Belgium. So Joe and I go way back now to 2013. He's just moved to New York City. It's good to see him around.
What event did he run at Princeton, the mile?
He was a 1,500 meter 5K guy. Now has really taken to the longer distances. Second place.
Is that Billy Ulrich up there?
Billy Ulrich is up there, which is funny because when I was looking at the field and I saw Billy's name, he didn't immediately jump out to me as like, oh, he's why is he running a 5K? I think of him more as like a 800, 1500 guy.
Right, well, he ran a really fast mile right before the pandemic started in indoor up at the Armory, correct?
That is right. He ran 4:04.28 for the mile back in February. He's got some 5K success, 14:40 back in December.
And Billy ran at Miami?
No, that is Sean Grossman that you're thinking of. Billy ran at Manhattan College, but Also in this field, Mitch Ammons, super inspiring story. You know, he had some trouble with hard drugs from the age of 19 to 26. Started running just about 2 or 3 years ago, sub 2:30 marathoner. And then just recently, I think it was last week, ran a 4:15 mile at McCarran Park in Brooklyn.
Just your casual midweek 4:15 mile. So we've already got 2 packs forming. There's clearly a
strung out really
crew of men that are going out pretty hard in this. We could see something 14 low here.
So someone I do think that should be watched in this race, and a lot of people in the comment section are pointing him out, Hayden Puffer, definitely one of the strongest guys. Ran 14:34 last week in a Connecticut road race. He ran 18:26 for 3K, and as an 8th grader, he ran 15:23. His dad, Darren, was a 2000 U.S. Olympic Marathon Trials qualifier, and then last year he won Junior Nationals in the 1500 and 3K for his age group. So, kid's got the brightest future.
15:23 as an 8th grader. And how old is he now?
It's probably, I think, like 16 or 17.
Yeah, wait, that's, all right, so let's see if we can pick him out. But for a little bit of context here, I think we had about...
Yeah, he's right there. He's right
up
third.
at the front.
He's the youngest looking guy in the field.
Yeah. But it looks like that front group went through 16 about 4:31.
That is cooking.
So they're cooking. And again, it could put us on pace here to see maybe someone like him or some of these other guys maybe make an attempt at cracking 14 for the first time. I think more than likely it could be 14 low, but they're out there ripping right now, and this is a fun group of guys at the front who I think are going to be willing to take some chances in a meet like this.
So another person, I mean, there's just like heavy hitter after heavy hitter in a race like this. We've got Greg Morgan, Philadelphia Track Club. Now he's a sophomore engineer out of Haverford College. 1500 meter PR that I was able to dig up was 3:46.8. He's run a mile in 4:05. I think that's, aside from pacer Joe Stillen, that's got to be the fastest one in the field. 14:20 for 5K. He's hit the road 10K in 30:28. NCAA Division III Indoor 3K champion back in 2019. So he's got the credentials to win this one too.
I always have respect for the D3 athletes. Those guys are putting in the work.
That one. National champion Greg Morgan is how I had it to start that off.
7 laps to go. Keep your eye on high schooler.
Yeah, and they're saying keep your eye on Aiden Puffer, the high schooler, who is in the lead right now. He is running directly behind the pacer. He actually, as he came through here on the last lap, looked like he was actually going to try to push the pacer a little bit. He's chomping at the bit, so pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'm really wondering now, it's like, is Greg Morgan the fastest software engineer out there in the world? Man, I'm impressed by Joe Stillen running this far and this fast in a mask. Oh, Puffer is right on his heels.
Yeah, I like I said, Puffer is actually like he's pressing the outside shoulder.
Yeah, it's like he wants
I think
to push
he's saying
Joe a
go
little
faster.
bit. Puffer, like I said, ran 14:34 in a Connecticut road race just last week. A week ago, in that race, which was won by Don Cabral, who's in the first heat. You have to wonder if maybe he's ducking Don Cabral. He's like, I don't want to lose to that guy twice. He's like, maybe I'll just take the win in the B heat and get myself a nice fast time with my own pacer.
Well, and I gotta say, I mean, running a 5K that hard and bouncing back 6 days later and running another one is pretty impressive.
Joe Stillen is doing a lot of work here. I think he's going to take him through. This is definitely more than 3K.
No, this is going to be 3K right here, and then it'll be 3,200 when they roll through. So 3K, You got 8:33, 8:34, 8:35 for the lead pack through 3K. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quick for anyone, but a high schooler.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you have to wonder, as a high schooler, losing out on a possible cross-country season, losing out on a possible indoor season, you got to make the most of these opportunities that pop up to clock these times that will attract colleges. So,
And where is Aiden from again?
Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's right.
Connecticut, honestly, like super deep historically when it comes to high school cross-country. In the next men's heat, we're gonna have Don Cabral, who's a star. You've got
Former
guys
runner
like
at Princeton,
former runner at
Olympian.
Princeton, yep, 2012 and 16 Olympian. We'll get into that later on. You got guys like Spencer Brown, I believe Aiden Tooker.
All right, and the pacer has dropped. So at this point now, you've got Aiden, and who's pressing him on his shoulder now?
Hip 21. All right, comment section, we need your
It's
help.
hip 21 and 40 are second
Who's in
and third.
second and third? If you guys can tell from the live feed. We don't have hip numbers.
And they're going down the backstretch right now, about to clip through 3,600. It's, again, folks, it's been all Aiden Puffer, the youngest person at the entire meet.
He's half your age.
Might try, hey, easy. We don't need everyone knowing my age here. So they're through 3,600. It's been all Aiden Puffer.
But do you think, like, I mean, this just comes into wondering, is this going to be a lot of work for him to do to close the last 2K of the race alone?
On legs too, that
Unless he just
ran a 5K last week.
He's a college
Let's
freshman.
see. Well, it looks like someone's made a move on him.
Oh, Matthew Farrell. That's who's in second. Thank you, comment section. Matthew Farrell, Princeton freshman. Loomis Chafee, class of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Out in Connecticut. So we got a little Connecticut battle. He ran
Yep.
14:25:23 at a meet earlier this summer in Connecticut. 4:01 at the Millrose Games. So we've got a guy who's on the cusp of breaking 4, and then we got like a really young, promising star. This is going to be a nice finish.
Yeah, and Princeton freshman, you know, I'm sure he was pretty excited about a big cross season that likely was canceled. So for him, this is probably some of the first legitimate race.
Men's mile. If you're running the men's mile, please make your way to the starting line. First call, men's mile.
All right, and here they
Here we
come.
go.
The top two.
2 laps to go,
2 laps
800 meters to go. We're at 12:07.
These guys are battling it out too.
You know, honestly, like, this could be like the preview of like a NCAA
finals
Yeah.
2 years from now, 3 years from now.
Oh, apparently Matt Farrell was also in the Connecticut road race last weekend. Man, these guys are getting their races in. Aiden Tooker is from New York. I'm sorry. I remember that. I think you have another Stanford guy. Anyway, also got David Kilgore in this field. I just saw him with like just crossed it 2 laps to go.
Running with the hat on.
He's
Gotta love
he's
it.
an ultra runner.
Yeah,
but
he's-
look at that. He's like,
Team
5K,
Team
why not?
USA 50K, correct?
All right, back to the leaders with
Puffer and
at the
Farrell.
bell. Farrell is
We're gonna
going to
get
be leading. We're at 13:16 with a lap to go. Matt Farrell digging deep. Can Puffer stay on his heels? Ooh, he's gapping him a little
Yeah,
bit.
they're rolling hard down the backstretch.
First call, women's
Again, I'm clipping them on this final lap, so I'll give you a little tune of what they're at through 200 on this final lap. Looking like it's about 31 for Farrell.
Man, Farrell is
33
really
for-
pulling away now. Found the extra gear right at the bell. Coming up with 100 meters to go. He's gonna take it. Man, he is closing hard. Drop the hammer. Matthew Farrell is gonna take the win in 14:19, 14:18-ish. Hoffer's gonna go 14:24.
Wow, what a finish.
Jack Hopkins, an Iona guy from the UK. Nordstrom, 14:37. Ran at Central Connecticut.
And by the way, it looks like I had the close for Farrell at around 63 or 64, which is pretty darn quick.
Let Ryan or Chris take. Well, I can do that. Yeah, that's in the front. I have it right in the front. So yeah, no problem. Front. Also, yeah. Do we have? And then ask my. And when you guys talk on the camera, just like like right now between the races, like talk like the camera.
Yeah, I mean, I'll rescue you,
All
boss.
men's milers, please report to the starting line.
Winning the men's
Women's
B5K. Chris is
5K.
going over there to grab him to see if we could do a brief interview, hear a little bit about how his training has been going, whether tonight was a PR for him, is his training peaking, what it's been like in this weird world of no actual racing, this being one of his first legitimate track events in a long time. So let's see if we can get some time with Matthew.
All right, Aiden. Congrats on the PR. 14:24. How did it feel out there?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect. I just came in it to just race, honestly. I mean, I knew the pace was going to go at like 9:10 to 9:15 pace, so I think that would have been good. I don't know what it was, but
John, go.
So at about 2K, the pacer dropped. You found yourself in the lead for a bit. Were you thinking it's like, all right, this is a lot of work to do for the last 2K?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, back near the wind was kind of hitting me bad, so I was like, oh man, I kind of want someone to like take the lead. And then Matt came like not too much later, and he definitely like helped like pick up the pace for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously, especially the last 800 or so, when he really started kicking, he really tested me.
Yeah. With that final kick where you just like, when he found that last year, what did you have left in the tank?
I mean, I wasn't really feeling the best, but I don't know, I just wanted to stick with him. I think around like 600 ago, I tried to take the lead down here and kind of like see if he was like hurting and tried to surge, but he just came back, I guess. So.
What's next for you? I guess, do you have any other races planned?
Yeah, I think I'm planning on running at Icon Stadium on the 23rd, maybe, so probably run the 3K or 5K.
So awesome. All right, well, we wish you the best of luck in training. We've got men's mile coming up. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on the PR.
Thank you.
All right, so you've got men's mile on the track. This one will be a little bit quicker than the one I ran earlier in the night.
They came out to run
Think so?
tonight.
A little bit, yeah. Johnny Grigorik is your pacer, World Championship qualifier in 2017, Blue Jean Mile world record holder. For those who are wondering, Blue Jean Mile, what did he run? He ran, I think it was like 406 in jeans earlier in the summer. Raised a ton of money for mental health awareness. Overall, great guy.
That was a CITIUS event, was it not?
No, it was Johnny's own event. We filmed it. It's on the CITIUS MAG YouTube channel.
Six, 57.
Colby Alexander has struggled with injuries in recent years, but is finally getting it back, looking like his old self. I remember he had a really strong Fifth Avenue mile. It might have been 2 years ago. And he's right on.
And is this a sub 4 minute mile?
It is.
attempt?
It's a
Yeah.
sub 4 attempt.
Johnny is pacing, correct?
Correct. So Johnny will drop out, I think maybe after 800 or K. So what split are we coming up on now?
This is going to be 800. So we're going to want to see them come through at 158 or 159, and I think it's going to be well ahead of that. 157 with 2 laps to go.
Taking advantage of these great conditions right now.
That's John Dove behind Colby. He's really fallen off. It's got to be hard, especially like when it's this few people in a race and you want this to be a sub 4 attempt. So he's going to have to do a lot of work in no man's land. I think he actually might be.
Yeah, I think
he's dropping.
At
So
1K, he dropped off.
So it's Johnny and Colby. Once Johnny drops as the pacer,
Let's get behind these guys. This is
Colby's
gonna
just got to
be
finish and he's got himself a win. So here we go
This is fast.
with 1 lap to go. All right,
approximately
Be on his own for the last lap.
yep, on his own,
257.
257. All alone.
That's
Colby Alexander overcoming injuries in recent years, finally getting it back. The former Oregon Duck. I don't know, man. You could be a sleeper pick for that 1500 at the Olympic trials next year. It's wide open. I think an event like the 15, always one of the best to watch at the trials. Unpredictable. Colby gets healthy, throw him in the mix.
Definitely one of my favorite events to watch.
Wow, Colby is looking great right now.
He's ripping it down. He's got about 100 meters to go here. 3:40 on the clock. Can he get it in under 4?
Should be the case. Look at that. finishing strong. Here he goes.
Charging across.
Clocks 3:53, 54, 55, 57
Wow.
as he crosses the finish line. Colby Alexander, sub-4, easy.
Casual sub-4, really in non-racing conditions, just racing the clock with Johnny out there pacing through 1200.
So now, here's the fun part. My mile, second fastest mile of the night.
Second place,
Second
Chris
place,
Chavez
yeah.
with his 5:09.
Looks like 3:57.86 for Alexander.
3:57.86 on the official time for Colby Alexander. Chris is trying to get Colby to
Trying to
come
get
on camera.
Colby in just a
but,
second, letting him catch his
after
breath.
Finishing 1 mile in under 4 minutes, you can.
It's your casual little
Understood.
Friday
Yeah.
night, sub-4 mile under the lights.
Yeah, I think I can understand how it might be hard for him to answer a few questions right now after running a 3:57, pretty much solo most of the way.
Yeah. And a little windy on that backstretch is what Aiden Puffer was telling us. So, it's
And
getting
now
through a lot.
It's the women's A heat coming up here, Chris. We got them lining up at the start now. In this women's A heat, we've got Allie Kiefer, Lindsay Scherf, Brooke Rauber, Gemma Nuttall, Elise Ramirez, Rebecca Stowe, Caitlin Ortman, Sydney Mascarelli, Christine Ramsey, and Danny Aragon pacing. This is going to be
Sasha
pretty-
Whittle is also in this one,
Sasha
too.
Whittle also in this one. This is going to be a fast group, and with Allie Kiefer probably being the favorite to take this one.
So, with this particular race, what Allie Kiefer, who is the woman to watch in this race, she wants to shoot for the Olympic trials qualifying mark, which is 15:20.
Okay.
So it'll hopefully be paced for that. Do you want to roll the video?
I mean, that's why you have to keep working hard, right? That's what keeps it like legit, is that your past successes don't mean anything. In my story, you can see a lot of like failures. Like, "2020 has been heavy. I started off at the Olympic trials at the end of February, and that did not go well for me. I dropped out. And then basically right after that, like the world shut down, and I guess my own personal plan would have been for a redemption. The problem now is that there aren't a ton of opportunities, so like you might as well take it when you have it. This has been really great to be in New York. The weather's been amazing, and to have the opportunity to run a fast 5K. I would love to get the Olympic trial standard, which is 15:20, which is very fast in my opinion. My PR is 15:52. So like the idea when I say like, I'm gonna take 32 seconds off, I'm like, that's a lot of time, but like, why not go for it? It's way more fun to shoot for a goal and be against people that might beat you. I've never worked as hard as I have this summer. My legs are tired, like I'm ready to taper and race. The last time I stepped on a starting line was the week after the Olympic trials. I know I'm ready to like light something up on the track. We'll see October 2nd.
Are you afraid of it?
Failure, still. I don't think I'll do it, but it's like the giving up is actually probably more of what I'm afraid of now.
Back to the action here at the track in Jersey City. The race is underway, went through the first lap, and Allie Kiefer is sticking right with your pacer, Danielle Aragon. Allie has got her sights set on that Olympic trials qualifying mark of 15:20. And you know, if you guys just watch that video, she acknowledges just like how bold that's gonna be. That's chopping 30 seconds off her PR.
Right, and for a lot of us that know Allie from the last couple of years of her running career, she's become synonymous with the marathon, right? And running some really, really fast marathon times. But like so many during this pandemic, is going down in distance and is gonna try to chop a lot of time off of her PR tonight.
Especially when something like the marathon trials just doesn't go well for you. She dropped out, and so her last race, she ended up running a half marathon in Texas the week after the trials to kind of just, you know, salvage that fitness, and then from there maybe plan to run a spring marathon. But when everything gets canceled, then you have to figure, all right, what's next and what am I going to do? And it's like, well, track trials just got pushed back a year. I can train for that.
Yeah, so Allie is definitely going to be the one to watch here with a very, very strong legitimate chance at an Olympic trials qualifier in the 5K. So we'll keep an eye on her running at the very front of this pack. But who else do we have running, Chris?
Yeah, so this field, if there's the chase pack is down maybe like 70 meters right now on Allie and Danielle Aragon. So they're really going for it. And so the chase pack is probably, you've got Lindsay Scherf in there. She, you know, if we want to talk about marathoners, she broke the indoor marathon world record at the 2018 Armory Indoor Marathon Record Challenge, where she ran 2:40:55, and that's a lot of laps. I think it's like 211 laps on the indoor track, so a lot of left turns. Brooke Robber is another high school star that's getting after it in this field. One of New York's best high school stars. And New York's got quite a bit of history when it comes to high school track. Mary Kane, in particular, comes to mind from a couple years ago. Caitlin Toohey just last year. And so Brooke is a standout runner from Tully. Just recently committed to NC State, which took 5th in last year's NCAA championships. And now that they add Brooke and Caitlin Toohey from last year, you got to think that they're going to contend for that national title for the next couple years, possibly.
Who would have thought New York State becomes a feeder school to NC State?
Yeah. So if we get back to the action on the track, Allie Kiefer still sitting on the heels of Danny Aragon.
Yeah, we'll get a split here for 1600 coming up in a bit.
Danny Aragon, who you can trust her with this kind of pace. She's run 14:11 this summer for the 1500. She's a 4:31 miler. I'd trust her with this job.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what happens after she drops out, and you got to sustain it yourself.
Yeah, looks like about 4:55 through 1600, and it does look like Brooke Robber, the high school phenom, is leading the second pack right now.
Yeah, another person to watch if we're talking about young high school stars, Sydney Mascarelli, who kind of broke the internet for a little bit earlier this summer when she ran the mile while dribbling a basketball in what was then the world record of 5:08:57. So a little basketball mile world record shout out here, which is it's gotten broken since, and now it's under 5.
And then where did she announce she was committing to school?
She is going to UNC.
To play basketball?
No, not to play basketball.
No, that's right.
But so just to run. I mean, that'd be really impressive. ACC basketball? We've got in this field, so we'll run through the rest of the field. A couple Iona girls in here as well. Oh yeah, Iona women. I'm sorry, I keep making that mistake. Brooke Rauber leading that front pack. The chase pack, I'm sorry. Man, it is a huge gap now between
it's about
Allie Kiefer is more than 100 meters ahead of the rest of the field.
Probably. So someone else in this race that I thought their background was pretty interesting is Christine Ramsey.
Yeah.
Two-time Olympic trials qualifier, 2012 and 2016. Mental health epidemiologist, a research professor. Finished 12th in 2009 in the New York City Marathon.
That's more than a decade ago. Yeah, legit. This field is great.
You know that someone has a pretty legitimate background. When we were doing a little bit of research, and I was actually looking at her LinkedIn page, just because I was so impressed.
Allie dropped out. Actually, correction in the comment section. Christine Ramsey is qualified for the marathon for the trials 3 times.
3 times. Okay.
Damn. Somewhere in this field, I believe, in a bit of a third chase pack, you got Rebecca Stowe. Rebecca Stowe, very popular among the New York City running scene for her work through Nike. She does a lot of coaching, especially during the summer with marathoners.
And also a former Olympic trials qualifier in the steeple, correct?
In the steeplechase. In 2012, she competed at the steeple out in Eugene, finished, I believe it was 13th in the steeplechase final that year, briefly ran with NJNY, had a very successful career at Kansas. So go Jaybirds.
Allie really rolling now.
Allie Kiefer's rolling.
6 laps to go.
Just gotta get locked in.
Yep.
Allie Kiefer doing a brief little training stint of sorts here in New York City. Has been all over the place, really. Was in Boulder for a bit, training under Brad Hudson there for a bit, then moved and switched coaches and was in Austin, Texas for most of last year, I would say. New York native from Buffalo.
So the chase pack again still being led by the high schoolers.
As a reminder, if you are racing in the men's,
Here's a fun fact about Brooke Robber, who's leading that chase pack. She has a tattoo on her left wrist, and it says Limitless. And it's not because she's a fan of the Bradley Cooper movie. It's because she told it, I think it was one of the local papers, it's so I can remind myself when I'm racing that I put my mind to. So, high schooler, wise beyond her years.
Yeah, and I would say, the sky's the limit for someone like her. It seems some of the times she's put up at a high school age, you've got to think, 3-4 years down the line, like you were saying with some of these other high school runners, maybe we're talking about seeing them in an NCAA final. Maybe we're talking about them in an Olympic trials.
I mean, if under normal circumstances, and who knows what's going to happen with the indoor season. I mean, throw her into a professional race at something like the Millrose Games and see what kind of special performance she can put together. She's already run 4:48 for the mile.
Wow.
that's approximately 9:54.
We got Allie at 9:54 through 3,200. So as a reminder, that's back-to-back sub 5-minute miles to kick off this attempt at going for an Olympic trials.
Can't even do one.
Time. Can't even do one. Sasha Whittle also in this event, another local runner who's really thrust onto the scene this year with some great times.
I want to make a quick note about what is going on a little bit in the chase pack. I saw Brooke Robber has dropped back a little bit. She's sitting in about 4th place as Sydney Mascarelli, the other former high school star, has now moved up. So Sydney Mascarelli finished 3rd at the same road 5K. A lot of these people are doubling back from that road 5K in Connecticut last weekend. She had run 16:43 there behind Lindsay, I forget who it was. That is Lindsay Crevassa. Sydney Mascarelli right behind her, and then Brooke Robber That's what's going on in the chase pack. Allie Kiefer, still your leader. And I think she's
going to be...
she's about to lap the back.
Yeah, I think she's lapping... she's already lapped a few people from the back of the pack. She's absolutely rolling.
For those wondering, what is the qualifying time? The eyes are on 15:20. That will get you to Eugene next year, a guaranteed spot. Of course, what they do sometimes is they fill the field, but Allie's saying, I just want to get the time, not have to worry about seeing where I fall on a descending order list.
Yep. So 11:51 with approximately 3 laps to go.
Good note over here from the comments section that they might have started off a little bit hot at the beginning. He's locked in right now at about 15:28 to 15:30 pace.
And 15:30 is the number she has to go for?
15:20.
15:20.
So you rely on a little bit of a click.
Here we go, the high school pack rolling through.
Right.
12:37 with 3 laps to go.
I wish they added a basketball mile to the program here.
I would have joined the basketball mile for sure.
Mascarelli would have kicked your butt.
Yes, she would have, for sure. And we've got, it's all Allie Kiefer right now again. She is rolling through with 2 laps to go. So we've got 13.
Sasha Whittle.
We've got 13:08. That means she's got to go in 2:12 over the last 800. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be really close. It's going to be somewhere in that.
But I'll tell you what, this is the most impressive race that Allie has pieced together in a while, I would say. So great step forward in terms of just where her fitness and training is at. I hope I'm not jinxing it a little too early. Let's get through these last 2 laps, and regardless of the time, if you get close, that's a W.
And you know what? She'll have another chance to try again if she doesn't get it.
Exactly. There's going to be another one of these meets in a couple of weeks.
But she's absolutely steamrolled the field here tonight. Really impressive run thus far.
Man, she's coming first. She might lap everyone but maybe like 4 people.
Yeah.
Here she comes at about 14:24 at the bell. Let's go.
And as
It's
I've
getting
done
loud for
with
Allie.
a lot of the other finishes, we're going to see what the split is on the final 400. I bet it's going to be a fast one.
And people are wondering, it's like, so what's been Allie's PR? It's 15:52 from meet in Stanford in 2011.
Yeah, she's been pretty much mostly a marathoner and half marathoner for the last 5 years.
Yep, and she notched a 10K PR of 32:09 back in 2017. But here she goes. This is it. 200 meters to go.
1 lap to go. On a super race, 15:04.
Lindsay Kravasarat is in second. The bell just rang for her. We got a little battle between Brooke Robber and Sydney Mascarelli. And Allie Kiefer has got about
which is pretty amazing.
You got to take it. It's going to be a PR nonetheless.
We got her on a 76 close.
It's a PR. You can't hang your head on a PR.
I'm thoroughly impressed.
And listen, it was bold.
Yeah, in a field where there was going to be no one else running that hard or fast. Pretty much pushing herself the final 3K. Only had a pacer through 2K. So, really impressive.
Lindsay Kravasarat is going to take second in this race. in 16-17. And look at this. We've got a little duel
wow.
coming down. Brooke Robert and City Mascarelli. It's going to be Robert. Robert,
push,
16-29.
16-29.
Mascarelli, 16-30. Really strong close there. By the future of the sport. Becca Stowe.
Coming in
16:46, 16:47.
We've got Elise
Ramirez.
Ramirez, 16:57, so still under 17.
She was second at the NCAA D3 champs in the 5K.
Oh no.
We've got Sasha Whittle finishing now at 17:24. We got a runner down by the finish. Hopefully with an EMT taking care of her. Ryan, I'll interview Allie.
You guys gonna hit it?
PR?
Yeah.
You can't hang your head on the PR.
No, you can't.
All right, one closer.
You good?
Switch off and try it again. Off on.
Turn it off and on.
Off. The camera?
Camera off. Back up.
Die?
All right, Allie. So it was a little bold to go for the Olympic trials qualifier. You went for it though. You got a PR in the process. How are you feeling about this race?
I mean, I think there's a little disappointment. Of course, like, I got a 10-second target, but I wanted a pretty big 32 seconds, so why not go for it? The pace was a little bit hot, like we went through 71 before, so, I mean, I don't have a tendency, if I'm going to be honest. So that probably, I mean, that hurt me, but I probably wasn't ready for what I was shooting for. But just, like, get a little closer every time. It's a PR.
Yeah. You can't hang your head on a PR.
It was really old, too, like 2011.
Yeah, I was saying that from Stanford back in 2011. So what do you think has been like the big thing that led to that sort of confidence that you wanted to shoot for the Olympic trials qualifier? What would have been the sort of major changes in your training that you thought it was okay?
I got a new coach, and Liz McColgan, she's crazy. She like pushes me and believes in me at the same time. So God Hudson was like amazing and helped me really nail to the level. Like pretty good, you know. Like he brought me a long way, and he was so sweet to me. It almost like I almost felt like I could walk with him. I'm probably not any person coach. Like I'm super needed, and Liz is like, hell no. Like the first workout she gave me was 6 by a mile, 1 minute break at 5-10 pace. And I was like, this lady is insane. Like there's no possible way. It's like May in the heat of Texas. I can't do this. But that was like my mentality. I can't. And she switched it. We were like believing in me. I didn't do that first time. Actually, went out before, and she was like, no, that's fine. But I was like, I took my spikes off and I'm still at the track. I'll do something else. She was like, put your spikes back on and finish the workout. And it's just like made me when it hurts, I don't drop out. There's no quitting it.
Yeah. So are you gonna? When's the next track you think you'll take at this?
So I'm gonna do the 10K, the 23rd in this series, and then I think I'm gonna go for the 10K in LA.
Okay.
That's like, I don't know. We'll see after October. See how that goes.
And how weird has it just sort of been? Where there's no like exact set race for you to sort of like look forward to, like, oh, there's this. Some of these things are just popping up left and right, and you have to kind of tweak your workouts here and there. So when this came up, was it a lot of shuffling, or like how did this fit into everything?
Yeah. So I wanted to take a break when COVID happened, and like everything shut down. Like, what's the point of training? Because I think a lot of us are just always ready for the next goal.
Yeah.
What's the next race? I've been training to like hit this goal, and she was pretty like set on not doing that. So I kind of carried on and like had weeks of down in training, just wasn't motivated, and then something would click and I would get really excited again. And so I left Austin in like the middle of August. I came up here and I was starting to get in shape and like got cooler weather and stuff. And so things started clicking, and I heard about these races. So it just worked out that I was like in shape at the time where I had an opportunity. I did hear about the Nashville 5K like 2 weeks before, and I was like, I'm not ready. And so like there's nothing really. Sure, I can come get a VR, that's great, but if you're not ready, there's also nothing you have to rush to do.
Right.
So it's kind of, I hate to say it's a nice way for me to like get my feet back under me. Because I had just like, a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I really like, I think I got to take advantage of the time to not have to like be on a stage and run something. Because I think there's a lot of, like having a sponsor is amazing, but you have these bonuses or having through the contract, and it's always like someone else's number, like, or top 6 to make it every Olympic trials or sub 2:28 marathon. That like then you get a bonus and you start creating these goals that you don't even know if you believe in. Like, is that actually what I would go after? So now I get to like set my own goals.
Yeah. Do you miss the marathon?
No. No. I mean, well, I just didn't. I'm like shocked by some of the workouts I can do now, and like I'm excited about what I can do in the track rather than wanting to grind through another marathon. I'm actually excited to see what her training's like.
Yeah.
Because it's so different than what I did before. That everything's like a curveball, and I'm really stubborn, so it takes me a while to believe in her. But then it starts working out, and I'm like, all right, I guess I have a coach for a reason.
So how do you, like, there's a lot of people who are competing tonight who you typically think of as marathoners, and like they're dropping down in distances because you just don't know when the next major marathon is that you can hop into. So for you, do you subscribe to sort of that belief? It's like, I got to work harder at the shorter stuff in order to maybe see some marginal gains when it comes to the longer stuff.
I do, yeah, 100%. That's not why I'm out here. I'm not out here to be a better marathoner. I'm out here to be a better 5K and 10K.
So all sights are set on the trials next year, on the track.
Yeah, I want to go there. I mean, I don't know if I have a shot at all, but like, that's like I'm out here to try to make. So, got these shoes today. I like them for the victories. But yeah.
Taking incremental cracks at it. Well, Allie, thanks so much. It's great to see you back.
Good job to you too.
Thank you.
Those eyes up performance video, okay? Bunch of stuff. Okay? Alright, nice and slow. We're gonna come right over this side. Think we can go to the bench over there? You can make it over here, or you want to sit down over here?
We are underway with the A heat of the men's 5K. Ryan, why don't you run through who's in this field for us?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty intense field. You got Don Cabral, Mohamed Hazri, Ahab El Sadali. Apologies if I pronounce some of these names wrong. Matthew Crowe, Duriel Hardy, Ryan Kutch, Dylan Geringer, John Busk, Sam Gaya, Everett Hackett, Brendan Martin, Jamie D, Mike O'Leary, and then you got Daniel Wynn and Tom Slattery pacing.
So with this one, I think what you want to watch for is obviously toward the front, you're going to have your two Olympians, Don Cabral and Mo Hazri. What's interesting, and they'll probably be paced by Daniel Wynn, who's got really want to know about like that, where he's a little cocky when it comes to what it means to be the perfect pacer, but expect Don Cabral to be up there in the front, two-time U.S. Olympic steeplechaser. But right now, he's actually just sitting in like 4th place.
And this was going to maybe be a year where it was going to be an attempt at a 3rd Olympics for Don.
Yeah, which in the steeplechase is really tough to
really
accomplish.
Deep, right?
I mean, unless you're Evan Jager and you're kind of like your name's already sharpied onto the team, like for the most part, I would say 3 Olympic teams in the steeplechase is not going to be easy, especially with just the American depth. But to give you a little bit more context of the top guys in this field, aside from Don Cabral, El Sandali is a graduate student from Iona. We got another Canadian in the field. He's just 23 years old. His PR is 13:52 from 2018. At the MAC Outdoor Championships, he ran 29:16. And
For 14 in this race.
oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I would
maybe your top
be shocked.
3.
I think that's going to be the goal, definitely. And then Tom Slattery is inserted somewhere in this field as an additional pacer, but I don't think he's going to be taking the lead towards the front of the race. I think what his job is going to be is to get some of these guys under 14 minutes.
Okay.
The way I think behind the scenes how some of this field was organized and came together was Brendan Martin, the Olympic trials qualifier, runs for Nyack.
Local guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's been on the Runners of NYC podcast. Hilarious. He his PR is just over 14, and so he's in shape now. He had an injury at the trials, still ran, finished the race, but you know what? He's like, now it's time to take a crack at it. So he's tucked in somewhere in the middle.
Right in the
there.
middle here, yeah.
Bib 56 in the blue Nyack top with the white shorts.
So everyone's staying pretty tight and pretty single file here through these first 4 laps. Again, Daniel Wynn pacing at the front. We'll get a peek into what they come through 1600 at.
Unfortunately, one of the scratches for this race is Gerard Hardy, marathon trials qualifier, full-time doctor. I've had him on my podcast before, back in February and March. Another guy to watch in this race, Ryan Kutch, recent Fordham graduate, who was competing for his school just up until this year, and then he lost, his outdoor season because the last competition that I see on his record is a 14:41 at the A10 Indoor Championships.
So
Here we got
4:30 through 16. So right on where this front group wanted to be. It looks like Don Cabral sitting in first place behind the pacer.
It's going to be, right now, the early look at this race is that it's going to be Don Cabral, Mohamed Hazri, and it looks like it's going to also be What did I mention before? Oh, El Sandali, of course. And so he, like I said, has cross-country chops and a really strong resume there. Rocking the Canada singlet because he competed and represented Canada at the World Cross Country Championships back in 2019. It was one of the toughest courses I've ever seen. If you go
Where
back,
was it?
this is, I think it was in Denmark, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Oh yes, I do remember this
If
one.
you watch the races and go, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, you look up the race from last year, literally like a 90-degree climb. It was ridiculous. It was just absurd. But he competed for Canada, really tough.
And it looks
Finished
like,
97th.
by
Top
the
100
way,
in the world.
a lead pack here forming
Yeah.
already. And I think that this is what you were speaking about, right? You'd probably have a lead pack that would definitely be going under 14.
And then the
maybe
chase is going to go for 14.
is trying to go 14 just under. So 2 packs forming here early.
So we've been talking about this 5K that took place in Connecticut last week.
This illustrious 5K.
That it fielded half the runners for tonight's races.
Right.
Don Cabral won it. He pulled away at the very end. You got to do it in front of a home crowd. Connecticut native. Ran 14:23. And actually, like, there's no steeplechase this year. So it's like he's taking this time to really build up some of that strength that could come in handy once those track races do come back.
Right, I mean, just tapping into his pure speed. Which, again, if we get to see a real Olympic trials at some point for track and field, you know Don will be in the steeple.
And Don is just like super strong runner. And like that's one of the biggest like things about him is just how consistent he's been in some of these longer races. He ran the Honolulu Marathon and ran like 2:19 just a couple of years ago.
And the other thing that I've got to
Literally for shits and giggles,
respect out of Don is you're talking about a guy who was a 2010 graduate from Princeton University. And we've talked about some of these other races, high school phenoms, guys that are, just out of college, still in college, maybe, 24, 25 years old. And Don, I think, is 32, and he still has a very legitimate chance to make another Olympic team. It's impressive.
I think I still, in my mind, replay Don Cabral's final lap of the 2016 trials, where I think it was him and like Stanley Cabene really battling it out, and I was like, man, is he gonna pull it off? Is he gonna make a second Olympic team? And Stanley Cabene trips up, I believe, on like one of the final water barriers. Don seizes the moment. He's been in that situation before, puts himself on another Olympic team.
Wow. Yeah, and by the way, that's only my second favorite Don Cabral video. My favorite one was NCAA's, I believe it's his senior year. He falls in the water pit about 1K into the steeple, falls all the way back way into last place, and still charges back to finish second.
Animal. But he's getting challenged here.
Yeah, they were about 8:28 through 3K. So pretty fast, about 9 minutes through 3,200.
I think Brendan Martin is taking control of the chase pack in the second group.
Well, he's the one that I think, everyone here in the local New York City community would love to see him break 14.
Just a genuinely nice guy. Another one of the people who works at Finish Line Physical Therapy. So if a lot of these runners have had ailments, Brendan's been one of the guys to correct them.
Their ailments have literally been in Brendan's hands.
Yeah. There you go.
Here first, Brendan under 14.
There you
And we got locals chanting Brendan under 14.
So the word on the street here at the track. Here we go. We got Don Cabral now pushing from the front.
Yep.
El Sandali right on his heels. They've dropped Mohamed Hazri, who was, I think, saying before the race that it hasn't been the perfect build-up. He's been a little banged up. So, it's starting to show a little bit.
Yep.
So we've talked a lot about Don Cabral. Let's give some love to El Sandali. Let's pull up and see. Let's see what's going on his Instagram feed. Just opened it. August 26th, August 16th post. It says The Last Dance. So he's really going into his final season. All of a sudden, COVID strikes, and your cross-country season gets pushed back into the winter. Because for those wondering what's going on with NCAA cross-country, the board of directors at the NCAA Division I level just decided to push it back to January, but somehow it coincides with the indoor championships. So you're faced with a really tough choice. And this is interesting because Brendan Martin is clawing away.
I know.
Very slowly.
He's distanced
way.
himself from the chase pack and made it into like this second pack that has formed. Right now it's a two-man race though.
Yep. Still, Cabral and El Sandali. We've got a USA versus Canada battle.
And where's Matthew Crowe in all of this? He was a last-second addition, correct? Sub-14 guy as well.
I think if he's up toward the front, he should be. I think he's run under 14:10 6 times in his career. His personal best is 13:57 from LA in 2018. Where that race, he was like a last-minute entry. He's got a really cool story. He competed at the World Cross Country Championships that we had mentioned before because Let'sRun.com sent him there since he was already living in London. Nelson Dolly's taking the lead.
Makes a move with 800 to go on Don Cabral. And Brendan is charging still. Brendan Martin charging
Brendan Martin's
up
in
to fourth.
This is going to be interesting.
Again, 2 laps to go for...
I know everyone wants to talk a little bit about, footwear technology. Brendan Martin's wearing the same spikes that the
It's looking like it's become a 3-man race with Brendan Martin.
Yeah, crashing the party that was up in the front.
Yep, it's Jamie D. El Sandali kicking hard down the backstretch. There are about 200 meters to go.
Don Cabral is gapped a little bit. He's not going to have it today.
Can he hold on for the podium, or can local Brendan Martin
So these are 2 teammates. Remember when we were talking about Iona versus the world?
We were talking about their Instagram page about 5 minutes ago.
Jamie D. He's run 14:02 before. This is going to be real. It's going to be close. El Sandali is going to take it. 14:05.
Closes in 61.
14:06 for Jamie D. Don Cabral charges in at 14:11, and Brendan Martin 14:14. So we didn't get the
sub 14.
Sub 14, but we got a good battle.
We got a great race to finish it.
Mo Rezi finishes back in 14:29.
The guys in the chase pack charging through too around 14:32. So
Iona 1-2. A lot of guys pumped up and celebrating.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of teammates here from Iona cheering them on. Great to see that these guys still are trying to make the most out of not having a cross-country season and getting some real racing like this today.
We can try and see if I can go get a hold of one of them.
Yeah, go ahead. So Chris is going to see if he can grab the Iona guys. We charged to 1-2 here in the men's A field, or around 14-11. It looks like he's going to get El Sandali. He's going to come on camera here in about 10 seconds. A little discussion about his victory tonight.
All right, so we're here with your men's A-Heat winner. So, all right, first of all, no cross-country season right now.
Yeah.
Was this like one of the big races? Or I guess it's something on your schedule to look forward to.
Yeah,
How did you approach this race?
We actually just got word about, I think like 3 weeks ago. So I kind of went to the season not knowing when I was going to race, and I pretty much was ready to not race the whole fall. So honestly, getting this opportunity means a lot to us. Like, it's tough right now with everything that's going on. So it's nice that you guys took the time to make this meet.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Yeah, I appreciate it.
So I know, I mean, because you run at World Cross, you're missing cross-country season, but to spike up on the track in September, what was it that you wanted to accomplish today?
Honestly, that's the fun part about it for today. Like, I didn't know where I would be fitness-wise. It was all like a guessing game for me. So I just wanted to come out here and just have fun.
And you had your teammates pushing you.
Yeah, he closed pretty hard. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome to have a teammate that's right there with me. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about today.
Now you gotta admit to it. So Don Cabral is in this race, the guy who's made 2 Olympic teams. How do you sort of like mentally approach that? It's like, you're like, all right, you know what? I want to try and stay with this guy as long as I can.
Yeah. No, that's what kept me pushing. Honestly, just knowing a guy that good was right there in front of me, that close, it fired me up a bit. So whenever doubts were going through my head, I was like, this guy's an Olympian. I'm right there with him. Like, try to stay as close as possible and just see what you can do. And it turned out pretty good. I mean, I don't know what his training is like right now, so I can't get ahead of myself. But I know he's the type of guy that'll be ready when it comes to. So I definitely won't take this win as like a big plus for me compared to him. Like he's in the next level, so I'm sure he'll be ready.
So yeah, what's next? Do you have any other races planned?
I'm not sure yet, but I know that you guys might be hosting a 10K here, I think.
Yeah, back at Bakline, I think.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to race that. So in terms of cross country, I don't think there's any other cross country meets that I'll be racing this fall.
So just continue to train with the Iona guys. It was a good night for Iona tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, Iona versus the world.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I think Iona took a couple wins. So thanks, congrats tonight. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. You're friends, right?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
I'll
man.
see you around.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice to get.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. We got a lot of PR from people, a lot of fast times. Ryan, what were your overall thoughts of the night?
I think my biggest takeaway is track is back.
Track is back.
And people are out here running for pride, running for PRs, and it's just fun to see a safe environment where people can get back to doing something that they've been thinking about for months and months and months.
Yeah, so for those people wondering, we've all been tested right beforehand, got our temperatures checked, there was lots of precautions being taken. That's just racing in 2020, for now, at least. So, yeah, major thanks to Trials and Miles for putting on this meet, to Bakline for sponsoring it. I'll plug in if you go to bakline.nyc, you check out all their products. I love this shirt. This is my favorite, the Future Female Coaches. Got me a nice little PR today, working with Coach Kate Gustafson. So use promo code CITIUS at checkout for 15% off. Thanks a lot to everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed the night races. You take what you can get in 2020.
Yeah, maybe we'll get another one of these on the calendar this year.
Thank you.